It is Monday, January 26th, 2026. This is another offseason edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan along for the ride as well. And I promise it doesn't matter how loud and belligerent Trevor Plouffe is over the next 40 minutes or so, I will not be calling stadium security on him.
That was a tough one last night for us, Rosie. Obviously, an incredible atmosphere up there in Seattle, as it always is. But came out on the wrong end of that one. Yes, some fans were trying to mess with us in the suite. We were just cheering. That's all we were doing. But you know what it means for me, though? It's baseball season now. I'm in. I'm in. My football season's done.
Okay. Well, you know, your buddy Matthew Stafford might be walking away with his first MVP award. Speaking of which, over the weekend in a snowy New York City, the Baseball Writers of America, they had their official dinner. I know it's like 6 weeks after the awards were given out, but it's nice. They all get together. They all put on their tuxes. They look nice. There's Tarek Skubal and Paul Skeens, your respective Cy Young Award winners. That's there's your MVPs, Judge and Ohtani. They also celebrated the 40th anniversary of the New York Mets 1986 team. They were in attendance. And how about Shohei showing off?
Congratulations to all of you and your achievements, especially to the 86 Mets team. I now know the feeling of what it's like to become a world champion, and it's great.
I mean, he gave his entire speech in English. He continues to wow us, and he's funny. He's got some little funny in him.
Hey, doesn't it feel like those four guys are just going to be there every year?
Right.
It doesn't seem like a random group of people up there. It's like, oh, those are the four best players at their respective positions. It's like Judge is going to be there, Shohei is going to be there, and then those two pitchers, who's going to knock them off?
No, nobody. If I set the over-under on Paul Skeens' Cy Youngs at 4.5.
I had the same number in my head. Are you kidding me?
What are you taking?
I mean, what year was this for Paul Skeens? Year 2, right?
Two. He's a baby. He's 23.
I'm taking the over, Chris.
Yeah, I would too.
I'm taking the over. I think he gets 6.
Wow. I mean, that's some nearly unprecedented.
He's like a psycho work ethic guy. I love that. I'm into it, Chris. I'm into what Paul Skeens brings, and that's should come to no surprise. And everybody should be into what Paul Skeens brings.
And by the way, I know that we both have dogs. Nobody loves their dog more than Shohei. Decoy and we cropped it out, but it's the MVP trophy down below. So.
That's a little much for me. Let's just be honest. Come on, we got to be honest about Shohei. You bringing your dog everywhere like this? Is it like a marketing thing? Is Decoy does he have an Instagram page that I don't know about?
I'm sure Decoy's got an Insta. I don't think there's any question about that. It's a beautiful dog. What? A man and his dog. Let it be.
I mean, it's a cute dog. I'm not saying it's not a cute dog. I'm beautiful.
Beautiful. Wonderful coat. Excellent teeth.
Okay.
Let's get to it. Oh, I am wearing not only my Guardians cap, but the Land sweatshirt. Why? Because Jose Ramirez is likely finishing his career in Cleveland. The All-Star third baseman inked a 7-year, $175 million extension that'll take him through his age 40 season, $70 million of which is deferred. I didn't even know we did that in Cleveland. So you'll remember a few years ago, Ramirez signed a 7-year, $141 million extension that was prior to the 2022 season. That had people screaming, "You're nuts. You're costing yourself hundreds of millions of dollars." What do you say now?
I still think he cost himself money over the long run if he just played out and was a free agent and all that stuff. But that's never what it's been about with Ramirez. And obviously it's a massive chunk of change. And there comes a point where you just need to focus on other things other than the dollar amount. And I think that's what Jose has been doing. He's happy in Cleveland. He's had success there. His family's good there. So he prioritized that. This is a nice, I don't want to call it a gift from the Guardians, but they didn't need to do this, Chris.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I think it's just them doing right by Jose, which is nice. He's going to end up, I looked up, do you know the final amount at the end of this contract he'll have made? Because we always like to do that.
I don't. I know that the first few years of that extension were not ridiculous at all.
Give me a guess. End of this contract that he just signed.
End of his 175. I think it's probably going to be about 213.
272, Chris.
No, it's going to be that much?
He's already made 97 to date.
Oh,
so, look, he is obviously set. He was set before this extension, and we're talking about arguably the most consistent player in all of baseball right now. Like, the things that he's been able to do for just year after year after year. I think he's 3-time 30-30 guy, 1 homer away from a 40-40 guy, clubhouse leader, statue guy in Cleveland. I think it's awesome. It's one example of a guy doing it right. Like, he did it the right way. And I think everybody appreciates if a guy can stay in one uniform his entire career, especially playing as long as Jose will play.
And what has been the centerpiece around the players versus owners narrative is that there's just such a discrepancy between big market teams and little market teams. And we, my hometown of Cleveland, Ohio, feeling like we just never have a chance. This guy has picked us, and I did this over the weekend. This guy has picked us not once, but twice. He has said, this is where I want to be twice. That does not happen in my hometown very often. I was having a discussion with one of my brothers, Pete, and I said, LeBron picked us once because he had left, gone to Miami, won 2 rings in his 4 years, and then came back. He said, I'm coming home, the huge Sports Illustrated article of him sitting on the throne the whole bit. He picked us once. Bernie Kosar, the pride of Boardman, Ohio, which is about 80 miles east of Cleveland, picked us in 1985 when he graduated early from the University of Miami and entered the supplemental draft and dictated that the Browns had to move up to the first pick in the draft, or he would have pulled his name out. He would have said, I'm not going unless the Cleveland Browns take me. We are talking for the 3rd time in 40 years where a great player or the person who had a potential to be great has picked us. This does not happen to our city. So we are celebrating. He's easily one of the top 5 athletes in the history of that city. We're talking Jim Brown. We're talking LeBron James, probably Bernie based on what he means to the city, not necessarily based on what he has accomplished. Bob Feller's in that group, maybe 1 or 2 other Browns. But this is it. He is on the Mount Rushmore. It's very simple. And I guess you can expand it to 5 if you'd like to. But even if it's just 4 faces, he's probably still on that. And it makes you feel so good. But Trevor, on the other hand, I sit there and I look at it and I say how much the organization, and I'm not saying the whole organization, I'm saying how much ownership has shortchanged him because they've had him on such a sweetheart of a deal and have not surrounded him with enough artillery to go to playoff battle with. Now, since he signed his first extension at the beginning of 2022, they've made the playoffs 3 out of 4 times. They made the ALCS in 2024. So people are going to say, well, he's had his shot. And there is no guarantee if you add 1 or 2 extra bats that they win. 100% right. That is true. But do you really feel like they have done him right?
I mean, it's hard to feel that way with the Cleveland Guardians. They're not out there spending in free agency. They're looking to play that sort of, let's develop game. So, I mean, if you look at it that way, I don't know, Chris. I feel like they're in the dance. Now, do they have the best roster every time they get there? No. So I know what you're saying. I get it. But there's a lot of franchises out there that are saying 3 out of 4 times making the postseason the last 4 years, pretty dang good.
It is, but when you feel like it's okay if you lose. It really is. It doesn't feel good, but you want to feel like when you go into it that you have a similar shot. In 2024, when we went up against the Yankees in the ALCS, we were just so damn excited to be there coming off that huge Lane Thomas grand slam against Tarek Skubal. We were like, shit, we've made it. But you look at the rosters and it feels like the varsity against the JV.
Yeah, I get that. You kind of have to expect it as a Guardians fan, though. I'm trying to think like 2016, obviously big year for the Guards. And was that free agent based? Was Andrew Miller came over?
He came over in a trade. The thing was, in 2016, it was a little weird because they had so many starting pitchers that were injured. They really only went into the playoffs with 3 healthy starters. It was Kluber, it was Bauer, and it was Josh Tomlin.
But those are all, are those all guys they developed? I think they were.
Bauer
right?
came over in a trade. Kluber came over in a trade, but he was unknown at the time of his trade. But the rest of the team, if you look at it, it was a really solid team. It was Napoli, Kipnis, Jose Ramirez was just starting to turn into Jose Ramirez. Lindor, Jan Gomes was on that team. Carlos Santana was playing outfield in the World Series of all things. They had traded for Coco Crisp and Brandon Guyer.
That's who I was thinking. I knew somebody veteran was there was Coco.
Yeah, that was a major league roster.
Yes,
and I mentioned it. And they have signed guys, right? They signed Edwin Encarnacion, gave him the richest free agent deal in franchise history a year later. So they did spend money. It just, since they sat down with Jose, and we don't know what they told him in 2022. We don't know if they said, hey, listen, this is the start of us signing other guys, so you're not going to be alone. Or they might have said, we're spending it on you, and you're going to be the leader of a bunch of young dudes. So we don't know what was said, but he's happy. He and his family are happy.
I'm going back looking at all the teams now. It's kind of getting me excited. These are all guys I remember. But 2017, they basically ran it back with the same team.
They added Encarnacion.
And Encarnacion, they won 102 games the next year.
Dude, the next year they win. They traded for Jay Bruce, and they ended up ripping off, 23 in a row or whatever the streak was? So, I don't know. On one hand, I'm celebrating because of who he is. And by the way, have you seen the mock statues that people have been putting out?
No, I want to see him. We can get those up.
A real funny guy named McNeil, who is Ohio Twitter guy, put this one out.
I forgot about that entire moment. But another what I would call like a pivotal moment in his career. Like he's going to be remembered for that.
He hates that.
I know he does, but it's not a bad look for him.
It's not a bad look not when you're standing over somebody like Muhammad Ali.
Gosh, man.
No. Well, look, unless Ronald Acuna signs another bonehead deal, he's probably the best player that cost himself the most amount of money in the history of the sport, right? With these extensions.
Yeah, I mean, you could say he's going to end up making, again, close to $300 million in his career. So maybe he left $100 million out there. Yeah.
At least.
Yeah. It's a lot, but also he's pretty happy.
He is happy.
What the hell's he doing with all that money, Chris? What's in his basement? We always try to figure that out. What's he got?
I don't know.
Designer jeans? That's what Jake said.
By the way, did you see that he also negotiated an extra hotel room on the road?
That's fine. Relax, people. It could be for anybody.
It could be for anybody.
Family, barber, whoever it is.
Okay. Well, I'm happy.
Get your mind out of the gutter, Chris.
Well, Jose Ramirez isn't going anywhere. Darvish is leaving baseball. We think. The news broke over the weekend from Kevin Acee, the San Diego Tribune. Darvish eventually went back over the weekend a couple of times on Twitter. He said it's not finalized because of the financials. He said, I'm leaning toward retirement initially. Then he said, not necessarily. Of course, he's coming back from another major arm injury. So he's working in San Diego. It sounds like he's kind of wishy-washy, but if you read between the lines, it really sounds like he's got 3 years in between 43 and 46 million left, and the Players Association doesn't want him just walking away from that money. And because he's injured, he can still collect on all the money and all that sort of stuff. So it's I would be shocked if he throws another pitch in the major leagues, but he's also not just going to retire and pack up without getting some of the financials coordinated. Let's assume that he is done. What is his legacy?
He's one of the most influential Japanese pitchers of all time. I mean, success at every single level of the sport, 2 different continents, WBC stuff, postseason stuff. Like he's done it all, Chris. And a guy who I had the pleasure of getting to face, a handful of times. And I'll tell you, it's not an easy at bat. We always talk about guys that throw a ton of pitches and it's tough to game plan for them. He is like the poster child of that. You never knew what the pitch was going to do when it came to you, whether it was going to be, 96 at the top of the zone or an ephus curveball that's traveling at 60 miles an hour. I mean, he was a true student of the game, pitcher, and just an all-around stud. I mean, from all accounts, like a great person as well. So, like, it's going to be sad not to have Yu Darvish in the league anymore. But I'm happy that we got to see him as long as we did over here. And again, yeah, I think that will be his legacy. He's one of the best Japanese baseball players of all time.
Well, so you were just pretty much starting your career when he came over here in 2013, I believe it was,
Mhm.
right? Do you remember hearing about him for the first time?
Oh yeah,
Because
yeah.
everybody said, "Oh, the guy throws like 7 or 8 or 9 pitches," and we're all like, "What?" And then he comes over here, and first of all, he is a mountain of a man.
Big boy.
He is big, and not every Japanese pitcher that has come over here has been some physical freak. So he comes over here, and you're like, "Okay, well, first of all, he looks a little different." And then, yeah, you step into the box, and you're like, "Okay, really, 7 pitches?" And he starts darting everything all over the place.
It's wild. I remember the Rangers going after him, and if memory serves me correct, they like outbid people by a large margin to get him. Like they really wanted him. I think that's the first thing that stuck out to me was, oh, they really want this guy.
Yeah.
And yeah, he proved them right, big time. And yeah, it just, I don't know anybody that has anything negative to say about Yu Darvish.
No.
I don't recall ever hearing anything negative about him in the press or a teammate or anything like that. He's just kind of gone about his business. He's great on social media. I don't know, man. It's going to be, it's a sad day. If he is done, happy for his career, but it's the big leagues will be worse off without Yu Darvish. That's for sure.
Yeah, fun. And once again, continued to open doors for guys to come over here from Japan. And now some of the best players we've got in Major League Baseball are from Japan, and whatever role he played in that, good for him. Fastest to 500 career strikeouts, just nasty stuff right out of the gate. So much fun to watch. I remember he had either a perfect game or a no-hitter with what was it, 2 outs in the 9th in Houston maybe, and ended up losing one of those. Really, really great. 2-time Cy Young Award winner, runner-up, 5-time All-Star. I think part of the reason that this whole thing is going to take a little while to figure out, he lives in San Diego, and he's got a son who's named Shohei, who is a very good pitcher who I think is graduating high school this year and is committed to UC San Diego. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I didn't know any of that. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he throws like low to mid 90s.
Like after Shohei, or that's just more of a common name than we know?
I would think it's the latter.
Okay.
Yeah, because the kid's 17 and Shohei's only 31 maybe.
You're right. That's okay.
Yeah, I think that let us know if Shohei is kind of a featured name over in Japan. If it ain't now, it's going to be.
Yeah,
be a lot of little Shohei babies running around, Career
stats against Yu Darvish. You want him?
Please.
1 for 4 with a double, 3 strikeouts, 1 walk. 250, 400, 500 for a 900 OPS. Let's go, baby. Yeah.
That away. Do you remember the double?
I think it was in the same game that I have the famed, meme of me waving at a curveball like Bugs Bunny. It was halfway to the plate and I had already swung. I think it was in that same game. Yeah, in Texas.
Good.
Got him back.
Yeah, a double. Good.
Yeah.
Way to hang with him there, Plouffe. I'm proud of you. Good. All right, it's time right now for Stock Risers. That is brought to you by SeatGeek. That's where we take a look at players and prospects who are ready to break out in 2026. And this is kind of an interesting one because we're going to focus on a former top 10 pitching prospect who got traded for a bunch of prospects that the Washington Nationals will hope pan out. MacKenzie Gore, he gets traded from Washington to Texas in a 5-player deal. The Nationals get 5 of the Rangers' top 20 prospects, the headliner of which is last year's first-round pick, Gavin Feen. I think he went 12th overall. Does this move make Texas an instant contender, in your opinion?
Loaded questions, Chris. You love to do it. I think it depends on what version we get of MacKenzie Gore. Obviously, there's a version that's very, very good. Then there's a version that we saw at the end of the season, whether it's injuries or, the league. He had a tough second half there, but has the makings and the stuff to be a very, very good pitcher. We've seen flashes of it. So if they can kind of tap into that side, then we're looking at a very, very formidable rotation that's got DeGrom, Eovaldi, who like me and Jake just talked about this. Like, go look at Eovaldi's season last year.
Incredible.
My guy. And then you have Leiter and Gore and maybe a Kumar Rocker, Jacob Latt. So like they have pitching is not their problem. They had a great rotation last year. The bullpen did a phenomenal job. Like that's not their problem. So to me, you're talking, does MacKenzie Gore make them a contender? Like it helps, I think, but we got to get that offense going. There's some guys there that can do it. We've seen kind of similar to MacKenzie Gore, flashes from guys, Josh Jung and Jake Berger, these guys that are going to be in the infield. Like what's Jock Peterson going to be for this team? So like there's flashes, there's guys that have done it at the big league level, but we got to see a more collective effort from these guys. And if that happens, then, there's no reason why they can't be competing in the AL West, and you get into the playoffs and who knows what happens, especially if you're anchored with a guy like Corey Seager. To me, it's just still like I gotta see it. I'm in on the Rangers, but I'm not like ready to call them my World Series favorites or even, let's see, top what in the AL, even top 6 or 7 in the AL, right?
Yeah, look, it's amazing that we talk about the Texas Rangers with such glowing remarks about their pitching, because we never did that. Never. I mean, even when they first kind of burst onto the baseball scene in the 90s, it was all about this massive lineup. And now, Dan just threw their lineup up there, and it was horrible last year. They had 2 guys on their roster with more than 200 at-bats that had higher than a 700 OPS. That's it. And it was the guys that hit second and third, Langford and Seager. The rest of the guys, way too many questions. Danny Jansen pickup could be a little bit interesting because Jonah Heim just fell off the map, and now he has moved on to a different place. But as far as this makes a ton of sense for Texas, right? Because you go Eovaldi, DeGrom, then you bring in Gore. Jack Leiter seems to have finally got his footing at the major league level, which is really nice for them. So this is a really fun rotation. And as far as Washington goes, I love the idea of this. Now, how many of these prospects are going to contribute? We don't know. We know that Fiend is obviously the top guy, and he's got to turn into something for this deal to have made sense. But Washington isn't at the point where MacKenzie Gore could be your best pitcher and you feel like you're going to contend. So let him be the Rangers' 3rd best pitcher. And hopefully some of these guys pan out and we just continue to make trade. It wouldn't surprise me if they end up dealing I know this sounds ridiculous because CJ Abrams is only, I think, 24 or 25 years old, but it wouldn't surprise me if they try to trade him. And remember, they've got new management in place. Let's just stockpile and we'll develop from here.
I'm looking for that aspect of it. We see the Nationals. There's a rumor out there they rejected the Giants' offer for CJ Abrams. The president of baseball ops, I believe his name is Paul Taboni, 35 years old. The GM is 31. The manager is how old? How old is Butera? 28, isn't he?
I thought he's 30, maybe.
Is he 30?
30? Is he 33? He just looks like he's
I don't know. We talked about that a little bit on Talking Baseball. It's like, that's very interesting. That's very, very young for those types of roles. And what does that mean? I don't know. I don't know. What's the direction of the Washington Nationals? I know they have some players there.
Young. That's what it is.
Very, very young, and that's great. But is that a direction? Is going young a direction?
Yes.
It is?
Totally.
So what's the direction?
We'll see
what we got?
Yes. Take 5 of some other roster.
Okay, so give me a timeline for the Washington Nationals, because I thought about 2026, 2027 was going to be the timeline where we saw this team start to graduate a bunch of these guys up there, go make plays in free agency. It's a pretty big market out there. We haven't seen that.
No.
So is the timeline pushed now to 28, 29? And then what are we doing? I don't like that.
I know you don't, but I think it's 100% the right move for this organization, because if MacKenzie Gore stays and if CJ Abrams stays this year in the National League East, at best, you're number 4.
I'm not even saying keep those guys. I'm fine with them trading, getting value, but like, why aren't we players in free agency?
Because it's not the right time. What's the point of trying to add? Like, who would be a perfect free agent for them right now?
Literally anybody. They need help everywhere.
I don't agree with you.
Okay.
I do. Yeah, I agree with that part, that they need help everywhere, but I don't agree with spending, because to me it's wasted money. I would get good veterans, guys who understand you're going to have to keep this team together. The most important thing is that we get guys experience this year. And it sucks for fans, because who wants to go pay to watch kids get experience? You want to go pay to watch your favorite team win. Like, that's what it is. But you can also feel good as a fan when it feels like everybody's rowing in the same direction. Believe me, I've lived that before. When you feel like there is a goal in mind, and they can't come out and say, hey, we're shooting for 2028. But that's exactly what they're doing here. It's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I know it doesn't necessarily make sense. I'm with you. I understand that.
James Wood, stud.
Yeah, but how old's James Wood? 23 or 4?
He's 22. He's 22, or he was 22 last year.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, I'm not saying go out and just spend frivolously. It's just like, man, like, you keep pushing the timeline back. What happens if these guys aren't guys?
And by the way, Trevor, the odds are is that most of them will not be.
That's what I'm saying. So then do you just trade James Wood for some more prospects and the cycle starts over? Like,
there's a big difference, in my opinion, between you're going to extend James Wood. Like, I would do that tomorrow.
Okay.
I would give him a $200+ million contract right now.
But they've had guys that have come and had initial success, and you thought maybe they should extend those guys, and like they really haven't had any sustained success from these guys. Some.
You're right. You're right.
I'm in on James Wood 1,000%. I'm not
Yes.
saying you can't. I get it, man.
That's what I'm saying. You make him your tent pole, and then you figure out the rest of it. You just do. I think that this is. I think, to me, and I like it when teams want to compete. It'd be ridiculous for them to have continued on with MacKenzie Gore as their best pitcher. So what's the difference if they win 66 games this year or 72 games?
I'm not opposed to the trade. Like,
Okay.
I understand where they're at. It just frustrates me a little bit when you're like, okay, we're gonna see what we got with this crop.
Mhm.
And what if the crop doesn't yield you fruit?
Right. That's the risk you run. But I understand it because they're all young together in the front office and in the dugout, and they have come up with a plan. I'm not saying it's necessarily going to work, but it is a plan. I think there's some teams that one year they're like, well, we'll go young. And now this year, no, we'll go with some mid-tier free agents. Well, let's swing big for the fences. Like, I don't think some teams know what they want to do. They don't know what they are, and then they're kind of caught in the middle. That's a hard place to live in sports.
I don't want to keep harping on this because I think there's more. There's other stuff to talk about. But like, what have they been doing the last 3 years?
You know what? The guys who made those decisions are not there.
Yeah.
So you can't blame the guys that are there.
They were doing this for 3 years already. It's kind of like my point, I guess. But I know it's new leadership. I understand that.
Right. Hey, it was good to get some Washington Nationals talk.
Yeah.
Good. Pirates Fan Fest over the weekend. Noticeably absent was none other than longtime Bucco star Andrew McCutchen, who, of course, remains a free agent. He also took to social media. Here's part of what he put out here in his statement. He said, I wonder, did the Cards do this to Wainwright, Pujols, Yachty, Dodgers to Kershaw, Tigers to Miggy? List goes on and on. If this is my last year, it would have been nice to meet the fans one last time as a player, talk to them about my appreciation for them over the years, shake that little kid's hand or hug that fan that's been a fan since Clemente. You see, this is bigger than baseball, bigger than looking at a 40-man roster and cherry-picking numbers that fit your agenda or prove why your opinion matters. The fans deserve, at the very least, to get that opportunity. Does Kutch have a point or not?
Yeah. So I guess my question is he talking about just not being invited to the Fan Fest, or is it talking about not being on the roster of this team next year? Because those are kind of two different things.
Right. let's start with the Fan Fest. Let's take it strictly as talking about Fan Fest.
I think as long as he's not part of another organization, why wouldn't you have him at FanFest? He's been a Pirate not his entire life, but like most of his career.
12 of his 17.
12 is 7, he is a Pirate, is what I'm trying to say. So why, if he's a free agent, not attached to a team, you got to have him there. So I don't know if they invited him or not. Sounds like they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, by the way, next to Paul Skeens, that's your biggest draw you're going to have.
Right.
So, and I don't think, did Paul get to go? Because I think he was busy.
Well, Paul was busy. We saw that.
So, I don't know. Definitely should have been at FanFest. Again, if he's attached to another team, I don't think you can do it. But if you're a free agent and nothing going on, yeah, get him to FanFest. Let him say goodbye. As far as like bringing him back into the fold on their roster, I think they're able to choose what they want to do with that. Like that to me is like has to be a for sure thing. Now, if they didn't plan on bringing him back this year and they kind of knew last year, then you make a little bit bigger deal of his departure last year. At the end of last year, he should have been, there should have been maybe a speech at the end of the year. There should have been things like that. Like if they knew that they most likely weren't going to bring Kutch back for this year, then yes, they roll out the red carpet at the end of last year for him and say, floor is yours. Let's get you out there in front of the fans, because they do deserve that, and Kutch deserves that as well. Like for what he's given to that organization. So they botched that for sure. I don't think it's like he needs to be on the roster this year. If they want to go a different way, that's their decision. But if they knew that, then they should have done it last year with him.
Yeah, they should have sat down and been honest with him. Is it possible that they didn't know? I mean, they have been fairly aggressive in the offseason, right? They've made some trades. They brought in some free agents. They have kind of revamped this offensive roster. We've been yelling and screaming at them, saying, you've got a playoff rotation. Get some guys who can drive in runs. And seemingly they've done that, right? They've traded for Brandon Lau. They brought in Ryan O'Hearn. They traded for the password. It feels like they've made some moves. And it is possible that there's not a spot for Andrew McCutchen on this roster. I mean, can he still hit left-handed pitching? I think he can. I think he would be a solid veteran. Is he an everyday player on the Pirates roster? I don't know. I mean, I think if you're a Pirates fan, to be honest with you, I think that as much nostalgia as you want, and as well as he has represented that franchise and that community and been a league MVP and a league MVP type person throughout the entire thing, part of the reason that this team struggled offensively was maybe because he was hitting third in your lineup, right? And that's not where he is at almost 40 years old. You hate to say that, but that does happen. I want to go back to the top of his. And Dan, you could put his quote back up if you want. He said, I wonder, did the Cards do this to Wainwright, Pujols, and Yachty, who all finished their career with the Cardinals? Let's remember, once Pujols did his little West Coast swing, where did he finish? He finished in St. Louis. The Dodgers to Kershaw, the Tigers to Miggy. They all ended playing in those uniforms. So I wonder if this is more than just FanFest.
Yeah, I mean, do I think the Pirates are a worse team with Andrew McCutchen on the roster? I don't. I agree with your sentiment. Like, middle of the lineup, Andrew McCutchen right now, I don't think makes sense for them. But right. Veteran presence, platoon player Andrew McCutchen, I think can make sense for them. Like, who wouldn't want to have that guy around? Just like feeling his presence. They messed up last year. That's my take on this entire thing. Like, if you weren't going to have him back, you make sure that he gets to say goodbye. Yeah. The Twins did this with Dick Bremer. I just talked about it. It's fresh in my mind because I talked to Bert Blyleven about it. They didn't give Dick Bremer, who called games for 40 years, they didn't give him a proper send-off. Now, he's going to the Twins Hall of Fame this year, which would be great for him. But, like, if they knew they weren't going to bring him back, they should have, like, told him and, like, let him say goodbye to people.
Well, you know what this is? This is truly it's a lack of leadership and ability to communicate, which we have in a lot of businesses. It's not just sports teams. It's business in general. We don't really get into politics here, but a lot of people will say in the political world, we don't have great leaders all over the place. And it's in part because we don't effectively communicate. And you're right. The Pirates at the beginning of September or whenever they were kind of felt like they were out of it. I don't remember where they were at the end of this thing last year.
They weren't in it in September.
They should have sat down with Kutch and said, listen, dude, we know you're a free agent. Do you know if you want to continue playing? Well, I haven't decided yet. I have to sit down with my family. We respect that. If this is the end of our relationship as player and employer, we want to make sure we do you right. We want to make sure that we send you out the right way and that this is possibly, even if your career's not done, because we don't know, we haven't figured out where you fit on the roster, and you have to respect that.
Yeah, they could have given him a choice. Like, hey, we're not sure if it's going to happen next year for us together. Do you want to go out there and speak to the fans?
Exactly. That's the point, is that Andrew McCutchen can't dictate whether or not they bring him back. He doesn't have that type of power. And I would hope he would understand that. I'm sure Andrew's a smart guy. I'm sure he understands it. Like, you might not like what you hear from your employer, but you have to respect it. And so they should have had this discussion. And I'm not saying they didn't. We don't know. But if they didn't have it, then they missed an opportunity.
It doesn't sound like they did. McCutch wouldn't put something like that out like there if they had a conversation.
Right. That's the way it feels.
Yeah. And you know what? Now you got me all sad because if Darvish is done and Kutch is done, we're talking like some of the most classy individuals with the accomplishments to boot leaving the game, man. It makes me sad.
Yeah. But
I've known Kutch forever. People know that. I mean, we're talking 2007 Desert Dogs. Raise up, baby. That's a young man at that time. My goodness. And he was a stud even then.
That's the sport, man. That's the beauty of sports, is that it continues on, and there are new people to root for and all of that. I do hope they get something figured out. And I hope that if Andrew McCutchen wants to keep playing, that he gets to keep playing, because he is a good dude. He's a funny dude. He has meant a lot to our game. He's been a wonderful player, and it kind of sucks that we have to talk about that, but that's the way it goes sometimes. White Sox made another move. They've been busy this offseason. They signed veteran reliever Seranthony Dominguez, 2 years, $20 million. Dominguez, you'll remember, split time in the American League East between Baltimore and then eventual AL champ Toronto. I mentioned that the White Sox have been busy this offseason, but does it make sense to sign a player like this for a rebuilding club?
Yes, for a couple different reasons. Number one, it sucks giving up leads at the end of game. So if you have a victory in hand, you want someone that you feel can get those last 3 outs, or like at least at the end of the game have someone that you can rely on. I think Seranthony Dominguez will be that for them, or at least one of the guys, obviously in the back end of the bullpen. And you want your team to start to understand, to feel wins. Mm-hmm. And so if you're coughing at wins at the end of the game, there's almost nothing more deflating in the game of baseball. So I like that in that regard for them. And then also, Chris, how many times we talk about this for teams that are probably not going to be in the race, a potential trade chip for them. And you have them, get him, see how the season goes. If he's having a great year, you trade him, replenish the farm system, all those things. So I think for those two reasons, I'm into it. And they also need to spend money. I mean, their payroll is down to nothing after getting rid of Luis Robert. So he even had some quotes like, we're going to be aggressive. There's still a ton of pitchers out there that they could look to bring in, guys who along the same ilk, like guys who you can sign to a 1-year deal, maybe a 2-year deal with an opt-out. And if they go off, you could trade them. Mm-hmm. So I expect them to kind of continue doing moves like this.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's a great move for them. I don't know how much it means in the win-loss department at all, but, with relievers, you have to be able to be out there every other day, pretty much, if you can be. And he has had 4 straight seasons of at least 54 appearances, more than 60 appearances each of the last 2. So teaching guys how to be dependable, how to keep your arm in shape, how to battle through when you do give up that 3-run homer that loses the game, and be available for your team 18 hours later. I think that's probably a trait that's learned. And with a real young team, that I don't know Seranthony Dominguez, so I can't speak to his leadership skills, to his ability to, lead out in a bullpen and all that sort of stuff. But I've been around enough guys in the bullpen to know that that's an important role. And so if he can bring anything like that and dependability, then it's a win. It's a win. And as you mentioned, that if the guy is having a lights out season, and he is kind of coming off of probably his best year, even though he did lead, the plate can move on him a little bit, which is, me, that drives me nuts.
That does.
And he also, I think he led the league in wild pitches as well. In fact, he had more walks than strikeouts in the postseason, but still was a dependable reliever for John Schneider and the Blue Jays. So I think it's a good move. It wasn't the White Sox best move of the weekend, in my opinion, though. It probably was announcing that they're going to have bobblehead Southpaw available at a game this season. In fact, kids opening day doing the 6-7.
Out.
You're out.
Out. 20 push-ups. Every time a guy on my team says 6-7, 20 push-ups immediately.
Is that true?
We don't do brain rot on our team. No brain rot on this team.
You can't have fun, huh? You're the no fun team.
Of course you can have fun, Chris. My goodness, I'm a fun coach all the time except for 6-7 and some other stuff too. We just try, hey, lock it in.
Dan, put that photo back up and
do you like that? How do you
so
even know what that is?
What do you mean? How do I know what that is? Enlarge it so we can see Southpaw a little bit better, please. Yeah, here we go.
I'm a very fun coach. I'll have you know.
Moving arms. You're not digging that, huh?
Well, Teddy says it's like it's cringe
out.
Meme now. You can't do that.
Yeah. Okay.
So they're a little late to the party.
They are, but how about a mascot doing it? Still no good, huh?
We had some weird interactions with TC Bear at Twins Fest.
Oh,
no. He's not the old school TC Bear who I knew.
The guy who used to jack homers.
The guy who used to jack homers. It's like a new one. I don't even know who it is, to be honest with you. I don't think I've ever met him. Very interesting. Maybe I need to get to know the new TC Bear. I don't know.
I think I think that's what it is. You're kind of a thumbs down mascot guy, aren't you?
Hate mascots. Can't stand them.
You know what? Just because of this, I'm going to hire somebody to be a mascot at Teddy's games now.
I don't want that.
I'd
rather have cheerleaders than mascots.
And doing this.
Why don't we have cheerleaders in baseball? That's my take.
Well, because for the longest time we did not have protective nets over the dugouts, and so
that's true.
Balls would have been
where were they going to cheer?
Another cheerleader.
We have like some dance groups, right? Like the Marlins have a dance group. The Rangers have like a dance squad, I'm pretty sure. Obviously in Texas, they're like, yeah, let's get some cheerleaders out there.
Right. I mean, come on, Dallas Cowboys.
I'm out on mascots. Like out.
Lot to get to. Let us know. Are you in or out on mascots? And I'd like to know like a top 5 mascot list of all time.
I don't know.
San Diego Chicken, who was dealing drugs back in the day.
You're into the mascots? I feel like I'm going to get a ton of hate for saying that. It's a personal thing.
Yeah, and you know what? I think you should. What is the problem with mascots? What's the problem?
There's no problem. I just don't personally like them. Can I have an opinion? Is that okay?
I think Orbit's hilarious down in Houston. Great shit.
No, he's messing. You're trying to stretch and get ready for a game. He's coming over there trying to mess with people.
Wah.
And then there's the players that love to be the center of attention, so they're always messing back. It's like, okay.
Really? So you didn't dig the Philly Fanatic, huh?
I like the guy.
Just not the costume.
He's fine. I mean, at least he does different things. He's fine. Blooper and Jake hate each other. What's up with that?
Dude, some of the NFL mascots now are hilarious. That Jackson DeVille came out wearing a Speedo one time. Some freaky shit's going on in Mascotville, I think.
I don't even know what you're talking about right now.
No, it's true. Follow some of the mascots.
I watched the mascot bowl in LA. They when they're running over kids.
That's the problem. Yeah, let's not have that. Okay. We're back at it later in the week. We don't know exactly when because we don't know when that next big trade is coming. We don't know when that next big signing is coming. But we are here on call and waiting for you. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, the uber-talented and mascot-hating Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. We will see you soon again here on Baseball Today.